Forward to the finish means faith in the moment, one stride at a time. As you know by now, we're reading short testimonies that were published more than 20 years ago in a book, now out of print, titled Over and Over Again, 150 Adventists Share Faith Stories About Stewardship. Now, I'm going to mess with your head for a moment about language, because over time, language often begins to let us down. Think of the word faithful. It's a good word, as in faithful steward. It means dependable, reliable, systematic, conscientious, obedient, dutiful, responsible, meeting the standard. He was faithful to exercise every day. She was faithful in learning her memory verse every Sabbath. He was faithful in returning his tithe every month. But what if, in describing someone as a faithful steward, instead of describing someone as a faithful steward, I described her as a faith-filled steward? You immediately get a slightly different picture, and yet faithful and faith-filled should mean exactly the same thing, but language decays. Our perspective about stewardship should not. The stories we've been reading are about not merely faithful stewards, they are about faith-filled stewards. Our first story tonight is from Denzel McNeilus, who more than 20 years ago was writing as a member of the Dodge Center, Minnesota Adventist Church. And here now is Village Church member Jim Nibel reading a testimony written by Denzel D. McNeilus, Concrete Blessings.
My father started a business called McNeilus Truck and Manufacturing in the early 1970s. Throughout many years of hard work and the Lord's blessings, the company flourished. McNeilus Truck and Manufacturing became incorporated with McNeilus Companies, a privately held family business. In our first years, the primary business was the manufacture of concrete mixer bodies. Our company was considered in 9th place out of 9 manufacturers. My father, with strong conviction, incorporated tithes and offerings into the operation of the company. At the start of the business, we were able to give these only at company's year end. Throughout the year, we tried to give to various projects as needed. Soon, as a family, we felt impressed to do more, which much thought, prayer, and careful consideration, we took a step of faith and decided to change our system of giving. We decided that for every individual concrete mixer and mixer truck sold, the company would give a specified amount to the church. We committed to this plan, and our business grew far above our expectations. So, we doubled the amount we had initially set. Our company grew again. We again doubled the amount given. As our company continued to grow and diversify, we developed new products. Our first priority on any new product was to decide what our tithe and offering for the item would be. So, as the company grew, so did the amount we gave to the Lord's work. When we eventually sold the company, we were the largest concrete mixer manufacturer in the world. We truly believe that God blessed our company and families so that we may continue to support the Great Commission. I can't begin to list all the blessings. God watched over us and blessed us with good health so that we were able to work the long days needed. He blessed us with patient, faithful spouses who support us through good and hard times. He blessed us with healthy, beautiful children who were born to us or entered our lives through adoption. But most important, He blessed us with the honor of being used by Him. As God continues to bless us in our various work, we are committed to deepening our stewardship relationship with Him. The scripture says, "Give, and it will be given to you, a good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. It will be poured into your lap, for with the measure you use it, it will be measured to you." Luke 6, verse 38.
Our next story was written by Thomas Nesland about a time when he and his wife, newly married college students, were truly faith-filled stewards. After working for many years in the health department at the General Conference, in his retirement years, Mr. Nedland was president of Adventist Heritage Ministry, actively involved in the development of historic Adventist Village in Battle Creek, Michigan. Here now is village church member Jim Hippler reading a testimony by Thomas R. Nesland, "A Bag of Pennies and an Empty Cupboard."
It was 13 Sabbath. And in our home and in our college life, that meant it was time to square up all of our financial covenants that we had made with the Lord. That might be fine, a thing to do if one were experiencing a normal college life. But ours had been a little abnormal lately. My wife was confined to bed rest, trying to bring to term our first pregnancy. The kitchen cupboards were empty. I was in school on the GI Bill, and the government was 3 months behind in making its payments to me. Our refrigerator only had a half loaf of bread and about 2 glasses of orange juice, and I badly needed a haircut. We had only $1.50 in the house. If we didn't count the bag of pennies we had been saving for many weeks and had pledged to give for our 13th Sabbath offering. What should we do? Certainly the Lord would understand our extremity. Surely He would release us temporarily from our commitments that we'd made. My wife and I talked about our problem, and when we decided to honor the commitment, we wouldn't use the bag of pennies to buy groceries. We would turn them in for 13th Sabbath offering as we had pledged. I took it to the local market and had it changed for 4 $1 bills and a larger denomination of coins. And as I stood in line, I wondered what would happen when we're totally broke. How would we get through the weekend? When my turn came to the register, I told the clerk that I had 480 pennies, which she kindly gave me 4 ones and 80 cents in coins. "I'm sorry," she said. "I'll have to count them first." Someone in the line behind me muttered, "I would have to get behind someone like you." Embarrassed for the trouble I was making, I told the clerk, "I'm going to go next door to get my haircut, and I'll be back in a half hour or so." And she said she would have the money ready. After the haircut, and now down to the last quarter of our own money, I collected the money from the clerk. That evening, I went to the Vespers service where the offering would be collected. With a sense of great meaning, I put the $4.80 into the basket as it passed my pew. When I returned home after the meeting, I was stunned to find 4 large boxes of groceries on our doorstep. I couldn't believe my eyes. It was a show and tell time. My wife was speechless as I fixed dinner, and all we could say was, "Where? How? Who?" The next morning, when I returned home from church, I found 3 more boxes of food. And we found even more boxes at the close of our incredible Sabbath. Our refrigerator and cupboards were filled with the capacity. We stacked food on the countertops and on the floor. We never learned where all this food had come from. All we know is that God had kept his famous promise in an astonishing and literal way. And the scriptures say, "Bring ye all the tithes in the storehouse, that there may be meat in my house. And prove me now therewith, saith the Lord of hosts, if I were not to open up to you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall be not enough room to receive it." Malachi 3:10.
Forward to the finish means faith in the moment. And it means not only faithful stewardship, it means faith-filled stewardship. And when you are faith-filled, get ready to have a story to tell.
Please rise for our theme song, Let Us Run.